I want to take you on a little business adventure. When I ran a marketing agency, one of the oldest companies in the United States came to us asking us to redesign their website. But what we gave them was a reason to exist. The company had recently been acquired by a new investor who basically knew three things. One, the company was really old. Two, they still manufactured products the historical way using historical machinery, which was great. And three, sales were low, and they wanted it to be a lot less low. Most of their business was run through a pretty clunky e-commerce site, and so the obvious solution was redesign the website and hope for better results. I pretty quickly saw, though, that the marketing problems were actually a lot deeper than they realized, but the potential upside was a lot bigger than they realized as well. Their website was not great, but that was not the big issue that was holding them back. The big issue was that they were solving a problem that people didn't have. Nobody's really out there saying, man, I wish someone would sell me a historically accurate tin cup or a copper flask or a stainless steel flour sifter. But at this point, that was pretty much the basis for the company. Hey, we have these products. Do you want to buy them? So you can imagine what their sales numbers looked like. I had a pretty strong hunch that what was going to untangle this for them had to do with the history of the company and with the story of the founder. Unfortunately, at this stage, the company knew almost none of that information. They had a name for the founder and the year he was born, and that was about it. So I started doing the research myself, and it could not have gone better. The founder, Jacob Bromwell, had been a soldier in the War of 1812, and after that, he decided to become an entrepreneur. Around 1819, he packed up his belongings and his merchandise, and he set sail on a flatboat down the Ohio River to Cincinnati. And you have to remember, the United States looked very different in 1819, so going to Cincinnati was almost like going to the frontier. And it was there that he established and grew his housewares manufacturing business, eventually reaching up to 7 factories and more than 1,000 employees, making him one of the busiest and most successful companies in the United States. But it's hard to keep that kind of momentum going, and the company changed hands over the years and eventually wound up with the investor who came to us to help them solve this business problem. At that point, there was a small manufacturing facility still making things the historic way on some of the original equipment and by hand, and a very rudimentary e-commerce site to sell it. That was it. That was the whole company. And they were making a lot of really great high-quality products, but they just weren't moving. Now, when you look at the 5 key customer motivators, security, pleasure, affiliation, aspiration, and identity, a copper flask or a tin cup doesn't have a strong place on that list. However, by rediscovering the history of this company and the story of its founder, we were able to tap into some of those higher level motivators. It was an aspiration brand because these products were basically handmade on historical equipment, and they were not cheap. And it was an identity brand for people who saw themselves as frontiersmen and entrepreneurs and pioneers, or just someone who upholds old-fashioned American values. That was the real problem that we needed to solve for customers. It wasn't that they needed the physical product, it was that they needed that emotional journey behind it. So my team crafted an entirely new brand and new customer experience based around those stories. We came up with a new look and feel, a new voice. We came up with the language that they would use. We came up with the kinds of imagery, the kinds of typography they would use. And the real jackpot that we hit when we were doing this research about their company, we found Jacob Bromwell's actual signature. Fortunately, they understood what we were doing and totally saw the vision. They changed the name of the company, adopted the signature as the new logo, and that signature is still stamped on all their products today. This case study is a good illustration of some important concepts in marketing, especially pertaining to the product itself, the thing being sold. When people think about marketing, they usually want to take the thing they already have and figure out how to sell more of it. But very often, what they have at the moment isn't the thing that customers want. And it takes a lot of marketing work to figure out what that thing is that you're really solving for the customer. The most important question in marketing isn't how do we sell this, it's what are we really selling?